Okay, so it's draft time.
Phil Collins draft time.
Yeah. So hopefully we don't continue to get progressively more difficult with this because I
Mm.
think we've really hit a point where it's tough to come back from with
I
Phil Collins.
I've been honest, and I really have gone back the week afterward and tried listening to the mixes we make, and like compared to Eagle, like this makes the Eagles seem like pudding pie. Like
Hmm.
I would gladly listen to the Eagles all day rather than go through Phil Collins' solo catalog again, without question. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I think I go first. I better. I hope I do.
You do, but we have to reiterate the ground rules here.
Oh
So
yeah,
as always, no covers.
no cover.
This time we had to agree that In the Air Tonight is off the table because it is too obvious of a first pick.
Right.
Um, so you can either consider it that it's off the table, it's not on either of our lists, or maybe it's on both of our lists. You
Mm.
know, maybe we're actually doing six, and each of us have In the Air Tonight.
It would make the playlist much more tolerable to say that that's a that's like the free square in bingo. The free
Yeah, exactly.
so I'm going to put In the Air Tonight at the top. There's a lot of gray area here that is unresolved, and I think not to go Johnny Cochran here, but we may have to because like he did a lot of work on other people's stuff, and he wrote the song, he produced the song, he's all over it, and it's on his greatest hits, but it wasn't on a Phil Collins record at the time. There are quite a few of these that are tolerable. Plus, he's also a one man reissue engine, and he's reissued some demos and some stuff that ended up being Genesis songs that ended up being more tolerable, in my opinion. So I might, I'm open to objections to some of my selections, but in order for me to get to the list, I'm going to have to stretch the boundaries of what's possible here. Um,
Okay. You're doing that
within
on the first pick?
no, I'm gonna only
Okay.
do it out of desperation just to make this a little easier. I'm gonna take "I Don't Care Anymore" from "Hello, I Must Be Going" as my first cut.
Yeah.
There's no way In the Air Tonight was such a huge hit. He was gonna have to come back with some absolute just drum monster song, and "I Don't Care Anymore" is like I think Phil Collins is credited with that clipped drum sound. So like the fact that the dude came up with something amazing and everybody ripped it off and now it doesn't sound as amazing. I will say this: if you go back and listen in headphones to "I Don't Care Anymore" or "In the Air Tonight," it's pretty masterful stuff. Phil Collins is like, I think he's a schlub. Um, like he played on the first George Harrison. He played on "All Things Must Pass."
Yeah,
They cut
yeah.
all of his stuff because it was so bad.
Well, yeah, but he I think stuff like In the Air Tonight and I Don't Care Anymore. Like I Don't Care Anymore was probably the easy number one pick after In the Air
Oh yeah,
Tonight was off the
oh yeah.
table. Because he definitely stopped being angry after that point. That was the end of his angry era of his solo work.
Right.
Um, yeah, I mean he there's something there, but I think with success he became one of those guys that here's what I do for my solo stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he got into a tightly confined space from then on. By the way, though, one thing I have to say about In the Air Tonight, when I was a kid, I don't know if people do this or ever did this. Maybe it's just me, but I used to kind of picture my own little storylines with the songs.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of visualize things.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in the Air Tonight, I would always picture that it was about Batman, and it was like the moment. The song was like the moment where he encountered the guy that killed his parents. And this was that. I've been waiting for this moment all my life. This was where Bruce Wayne was encountering the guy that killed his parents, and
But it is such a dramatic song.
yeah,
So again, I really don't care for Phil Collins solo music, but
yeah.
I'm not knocking him as a drummer. He was a
Hmm.
very interesting, really great drummer to listen to. And he had a great ear. Like In the Air Tonight and Don't Care Anymore, they are angry records, and the drumming really is up front, but the production value is pretty great. They sound fucking great. He produced some other music that was not all shit. He produced
Mm.
the Blue Nile's second record that has Downtown Lights on it. That song's a monster. That album is great, and it sounds incredible. And he has an incredible hand on that record. Like, it's not that he was a one-dimensional asshole. I think I'm with you in that. Like, I think he got to a point where giving over to his lazier pop instincts was just too good to pass up. It was just
Yeah,
too good to pass up.
I feel like I know the turning point. I don't know if I want to mention it because
You're up. You're on the clock. It's your turn in the
yeah.
draft.
So we can maybe go back down that road later on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, I don't care anymore was kind of the I think the obvious place for either of us to go
Mm-hmm.
with the first pick. I'm gonna go with a song that I will just say I like this song. I can't say I've heard it since I was a kid. I don't even know if I really took the time to listen to it in researching this, but I was just thinking back on it. Like I liked the song. I liked this song when I was a kid. Uh, I still think it's a good song. Still works for me, even though I don't listen to it anymore, and I couldn't tell you the last time I ever heard it. But the song is "Take Me Home."
Ooh, fuck. That was my next pick.
Oh,
Fuck. Fuck.
well, I'm
Fuck.
glad I escaped with it. Because I
Oh.
tell you, after this, I don't know if I have any other songs that I can honestly say I like, but I honestly do like this one.
Oh no. You're right. You're so right. Well, look, we each kind of fucked each other a little bit then. I got the easily the pick of the litter that was left after In the Air Tonight, and I don't care
Yeah.
anymore. And after that, Take Me Home was the only other thing on this list that I could honestly say have received enjoyment listening to as an adult. Once
Yeah,
my
so
I have a by the way, I have a pre-patrician era relationship with Phil Collins. I have to disclose, I bought some Phil Collins records during the time. Like I should have started with that. Is like I detest Susudio, but I bought it. So I have to completely come clean. But I interrupted, sir. Please continue.
oh well, I was just gonna say, so if this would have been your first pick, like say I had the first pick and I went with I don't care anymore because I was trying to strategize, thinking,
Mm-hmm.
well, this is the big value on the board, and I would have taken that, hoping that I get take me home to fall back to. If that would have been the if that would have been what you picked with your first pick because you didn't get I don't care anymore, then I'm happy things worked out the way they did because I would actually rather have this one.
It's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
It is a
Um,
good song.
it's definitely not his usual level of shit.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm gonna congratulate you, sir, and on a job well done there. Take Me Home
Yeah.
from
Thank you.
No Jacket Required, which is a monster of an album. I mean, there's got to be 4 or 5 singles off that album if I recall correctly. In fact, what I have up next is also from No Jacket Required, but I'm wondering if I shouldn't just grab all the getting's good. You know what? I'm bailing on my original, and I'm going to take Easy Lover, which he did with
Oh.
Philip Bailey,
Yeah.
and that's on his greatest hits on his singles compilation. So while it technically was originally a Philip Bailey solo record, I mean, he wrote it, he produced it, he's in the video, he produced the
Yeah.
video, he sings in it, and it's on his compilation. So maybe that's a stretch of the rules, but I think I even checked in with you on this one because
Yeah.
to
You
me,
did.
like this is the only way this can be done. The other
Mm-hmm.
thing I gotta say nice about Phil Collins is he did have the class to recognize how good the horn section from Earth, Wind, and Fire is, and for a while there on those first couple records, he was using the Earth, Wind, and Fire horn section to pretty good effect. I give him credit for having such good taste in horn sections on the last radio records I can think of that had horns in them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like this
Yeah.
was sort of the swan song of the horn section. I think only fucking Huey Lewis does that shit anymore.
Yeah, I mean, when we get into like, you want to contrast the great horn section with some of the cheesy stuff, that we'll find in the Phil Collins solo catalog, as far as uh, instruments and production. Yeah, it is. There's a lot of irony there that he appreciated a good horn section.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say, "Easy Lover" is not a good song. I would never go out of my way to listen to it, but in this context, I think
Hmm.
this is about as good as the draft board has on it at this point.
Yeah, if this is what you have, like if this is all the music that's remaining on the world in the world, Easy Lover becomes a hot commodity. It really does.
That is very well said, sir. All right, it's up to you. Like, I mean, this is a dog's breakfast again. Here we go. What do you got?
Oh well, this might not have been where I picked this one. I feel like I got to take it before it gets taken. I'm gonna go with Misunderstanding.
Wow. So that was totally on my short list too. This
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah. It's again hot commodities.
This strategically is really bad. I mean, it's good for the compilation because that's
Hmm.
tolerable shit.
Yeah,
Misunderstanding is a Genesis was a pretty good Genesis song.
yeah.
I don't know
Oh,
how it didn't get there, but
yeah. You know what? I forgot that we're talking about the demo version for the Phil Collins.
it's good. The demo version's good, and there's a live
Yeah,
version on the Face Value reissue too. So it's not that far. I'm mostly here trying to find something tolerable. So please
but
don't take it off.
well, yeah, yeah. I wouldn't have picked that had I remembered that it was a demo version, because the demo version doesn't even have lyrics to it. So it is just the structure of the song, without any actual fleshed out lyrics.
And
Um,
you won't take the live version because we're not doing live versions because there's a
yeah,
misunderstanding live version on the Face Value reissue.
yeah, because what we agreed to is that this is fine because it was a demo that was intended for a Phil Collins solo. It ended up being a Genesis song later, but because this demo was intended for Phil Collins, for what, the first solo
Yeah,
album.
it's just the demo is just guide vocal, but the melody was
Yeah,
there. The song is still good. I don't know. I'd
yeah.
let you keep it, but that's purely out of self interest.
I gotta stand by it. I guess
All
I
right,
wouldn't have
good.
I wouldn't have done it. It's as it is. It's very much a Hail Mary pass early in the game. So
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm gonna since we can't pick covers, if we were allowed to pick covers, "You Can't Hurry Love" would be great right about now.
mhm.
We don't have that option. I'm gonna take "Against All Odds." Take a look at me now from the what was that horrible movie soundtrack that it was on? Um,
Oh
it
God,
was
I
"Against All Odds."
yeah,
It was the movie was called "Against All
yeah,
Odds."
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Find
yep.
somebody who's seen it. So in eighth grade, where I grew up outside Chicago, they did a graduation from junior high. So when you left eighth grade, there was like an eighth grade graduation. You got a junior high diploma, and then you went to high school. Every year, the kids would pick a song from that year as sort of like this is the anthem of our class. And for some reason, with completely unironically, my class picked "Against All Odds," and we sang it at our school graduation to eighth grade. So I have some sentimental attachment to it. When I sing along with it, I'm not thinking about the Phil Collins version. I could think about my eighth grade graduation and I could feel nice and warm inside. And so I can easily put it on here and tolerate it because I go away to a special place rather than actually hear the recording.
Well, that is an interesting pick, and one I definitely wouldn't have made. So I'm glad I didn't mention any specifics in the earlier thing that I was talking about that I said we might go back to, because it was this song. I feel like this is the song where Phil Collins had such a big hit with this that he stopped doing any sort of interesting stuff and just focused on getting more hits, of this
Yeah.
caliber.
Yeah.
And so I think if there is any turning point, I think maybe there is, like, you're not talking about like a sharp left, but there maybe is a turning point in the solo oeuvre of Phil Collins, and I think it's
Just listen to
I
what you just said. Listen to the sentence you just said. I don't want to hear the song. I want to hear you say that sentence again with full
yeah.
knowledge of what it is.
Well, I
Keep
did
going.
have I did have full knowledge enough to not pronounce it in the proper French way,
That's fine.
and I think that says everything.
So, what is this oeuvre defining?
Well, you take away all of the angry stuff that was somewhat interesting, like In the Air Tonight, and I Don't Care Anymore, and then you replace it with just a bunch of light rock, basically.
Yes. And
Well,
so,
and
what is your
and
pick?
the turning point is Take a Look at Me Now, because it was such a mega hit.
Yeah, I agree with that. I
Yeah,
agree with that. It also began his thing of having to have ballads constantly. Like that is what made him a balladeer, and that's what made him vapid.
yeah,
There-
light rock.
yeah, but I
It's
mean,
all light rock.
he started the next album, No Jacket Required. The first single off No Jacket Required was not Susudio. It was One More Night. You know what I mean? And boy, it just dawned on me. You said that like he stopped being serious after his first two records, but it's in his own mind, those are wacky joke records because in his mind, he didn't get serious until the album called "But Seriously." Do you know what I'm getting? Like, like, like the stuff that has any sort of edge to it, the stuff that has any sort of like, dude, they're playing In the Air Tonight at the laser show. Like, yeah, let's get high and go. Like, there's definitely there were contexts in which Phil Collins would have been tolerable, and he gave it all up because of Against All Odds money. Like,
Yeah,
really, really, like you give it all up because you take a look at me now. Oh,
yeah.
wow, he sold
Well,
his soul.
well, it's just my theory. It's just my theory.
Yeah, I think
Um,
right.
but yeah, I mean, prior to that, he was the soundtrack to my little Batman scenario.
Oh, you lose. Well, look, I didn't pick the one from White Knights. Um, that one, the Separate Lives with Marilyn. What's her face? I didn't pick
Oh
that.
yeah, separately. Yeah,
Another
that is a
just
vapid.
drag. What
Yeah, that's
nightmare. That's a nightmare. But you're right. Against All Odds is really when this Phil Collins ballad nightmare began.
yeah. It was
Sick.
yeah. That's when a mega hit. Well, mega hits are often.
That could have never been a Genesis song, man. That is like I think even Mike and the Mechanics would have like roughed him up if he'd suggested that.
Well, and this is why we couldn't do this with Genesis. Compared to this, it is infinitely
Oh, it's
more,
pumpkin pie.
more interesting.
Yeah, oh
Yeah.
God, yeah. Sorry. All right. This is insufferable so far, but let's hear what saucy rejoinder you have.
Okay. I'm gonna go with maybe the maybe the unofficial sequel to In the Air Tonight. Don't Lose My Number. and I say this because, like In the Air Tonight, there seems to be some vague crime that was committed, perhaps, but we never get any details on it. We don't know anything about what happened. We just know something happened.
Mm.
In the Air Tonight, it's like, I was there and I saw what you did, but we never know what that is. We never know
No.
what this person did. In Don't Lose My Number, it's I'm never coming back, and I believe him. He never meant to do anything wrong. It's going to get worse if he waits too long. But we don't know any specifics.
You're right.
Yeah.
There's always a villain off scene in Phil Collins' most intense moments.
Yeah.
Don't Lose My Number is the one more Against All Odds is when he stopped being credible. But I think Don't Lose My Number is where he began to enjoy being the villain. Like that was a single, man. That video was played on MTV like every hour. It's one of the worst videos. It's just one of those cheap, like turn the camera on when Phil Collins is in the room. Look how wacky he is. You know, just that whole. This is like when you couldn't be more overexposed than he was at that time. Because remember, he was on Miami Vice. They didn't just play In the Air Tonight every 2 seconds. Like In the Air Tonight spawned Miami Vice. Just think of that. But he played like a villain in an episode of Miami Vice. You could not escape Phil Collins. And I think Don't Lose My Number is just where like I think like the stuff his manager booked for him just overwhelmed him, and he just didn't have enough time to finish the album. And he just threw some shit down and just be like, "All right, finish this for me. I gotta go." It's I can't think of. I mean, come on.
And you're saying that's why it's so vague?
I'm just. This is the thing. Again, I'm sorry. I'm really got the vinegar right now about this. And it's not normal. It's not normal to get angry about Phil Collins when you're 50 years old. And this is really ruining everything that I tried to build in my life. But like, and I don't even remember now what I was going to say, other than I'm just I don't know. I don't even remember what I was going to say. I'm picturing that fat guy eating the sandwich in the video over and over in my head, and it's completely ruining any train of thought I have. God, is that the worst video ever made? Don't Lose My Number.
I don't remember the video. You should have cued me that we might discuss this, and I could have gone back and watched this because I have no recollection. I know I saw it. I probably saw it quite a few times, but I don't remember it at all.
All right, I'm gonna try a kind of a bitch move here. Will you accept? No, you know what? I already know the answer. I'm not gonna play games here. I really want to put Frida's I Know There's Something Going On this list. His drumming on that is so good. And that song is so
I wouldn't allow it. No,
you would not allow that, right?
Disallowed, yeah.
Because if you allow that, then you allow In the Mood by Robert Plant, which is also him. And then we get out of here, because then we got a list. But all right. If you're going to go and fucking shit all over the place with Don't Lose My Number like that, then I'm just going to I want to get face to face and insert the blade and just stare and watch the light go out in your eyes by putting I Wish It Would Rain Down on this playlist. This is I can't feel more unhappiness.
You might feel unhappy, but I feel unhappy because I would have there just isn't much left, and I would have gone with that because it does have some good Eric Clapton guitar work on it.
It's tolerable.
Yeah, it is tolerable, and it would have been my fourth pick if I would have known, that if I would have known you would have picked this over Don't Lose My Number, I would have picked this with the fourth or third or fourth, however you want to look at it.
Don't Lose My Number was not on it was nowhere on my radar. Strategically, that's a whiff for you.
And I would have ended up with both, which I needed to do because I don't have it. I have songs on my list now that I don't even remember what they sound like.
Okay, well, I took I Wish It Would Rain. That is the last Phil Collins song that I remember finding even slightly tolerable.
Yeah.
In his over or ovra. It's just it still sucks.
Yeah, I think Ouve is how you would say it in France.
There we go.
Yeah,
there,
I needed to have that because now I couldn't even tell you.
I think I get out of this. I think I have one more that if you forced me to listen to it, I wouldn't break out in shingles or something. So I think I have one more. I'm glad to hear because you got two more.
Yeah,
big boy.
Yeah, but yeah. By the way, Clapton. So I know it's not cool at this time in history to like Eric Clapton. I do like Eric Clapton, and I think that's good work on his part. He kind of makes the song.
I would not permit an Eric Clapton draft. I understand why people don't like Eric Clapton, but you got to get over it. 461 Ocean Boulevard is all killer, no filler at all.
Yeah, and don't forget the guy was in Cream, and the Derek and the Dominoes album will always be one of my favorites.
But you know what? Phil Collins produced a lot of the Eric Clapton solo stuff during this era, and that's why it's shit. That's why
Yeah.
the is Forever
Well,
Man? It's all right, I guess.
yeah, you can blame the era more than any individual in the era. I think it just was an era that sucked a lot of souls into it. It's a big
All right.
black hole. Big black hole. Okay, I gotta go with Mist again. There's just no way not to.
That really reduces my options. But
I hope so because I don't really have much of anything.
Face Value has In the Air Tonight. It has I Missed Again. We can't include it in here, but his version of Tomorrow Never Knows is reverent. I'll give him credit for that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
that's
great.
Lennon and McCartney. It's not Phil Collins.
Yeah. It's Face Value is almost half tolerable because of I Missed Again and Tomorrow Never Knows. You're right. We're at the dog. This is the dregs. There's what else is there really at this point? So yeah, you hurt me because that was on my possible list. I still think I can get out of here with something, but good call, sir. Good call. I, like you, am going to go back to the early days, and I think it's telling that nobody has picked anything after like mid '80s, like '85.
Well, I Wish It Would Rain was. I want to say that was probably right around 1990, actually.
Really? Ooh, I didn't
Yeah, I
realize.
think so. Yeah, I want to say that's probably
89. It's from But
yeah,
Seriously,
89. Yeah.
which is the one after No Jacket Required. We don't get out of the '80s so far, and I'm looking here at the what he did in the '90s, Dancing to the Light, stuff like that. I don't even know the song, so I'm just gonna go back to my original list. This really sucks. I'm gonna take It Don't Matter to Me from Hello, I Must Be Going. It's got horn. It's got good horns. They're tight as a mosquito's ass. The Earth, Wind, and Fire horns on that one. So I don't give a shit about Phil Collins or his performance, but I love the Earth, Wind, and Fire horns.
Wait, what was that one again?
It's called "It Don't Matter to Me" from Hello, I Must Be Going.
Okay, I don't think I know that one at all. Huh. Okay.
It's a bit of a samba. That's all I can say. It's a samba with horns. There you go. Sold. Good.
Phil Collins Samba.
Right. That's exactly how I roll. All right, let's hear what you got. This is so far. This is I got done. I was able to make it. I didn't lose key points, and I think I really stuck you this time.
Well, okay. At this point I have 3 songs on my list. 2 of them I cannot remember what they sound like, but they are on my list. So I either pick one of these songs that I don't remember, but are probably better than the one that I do. So I'm not sure what to do. I'm not sure what to do about this. Boy, oh boy! If only I had another chance to go back and listen to this stuff, I would make a better decision than I'm about to make. I'm sure.
Come on, you could go to his singles compilation at this point.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean I know what they sound like. I wrote down songs. And at the time, I knew what they sounded like, and I was like, "Well, this could work. This could be fine." And then I forgot what they sound like, so I don't know. And I don't really want to pick the one I do know. So it's either go for the crapshoot or go for the devil you know. I'm gonna go with one of the ones I don't know and hope I make the right decision. I'm gonna go with I'm Not Moving. I don't know. It might be horrible. It might be all right. I don't know.
Well, it's mercifully it's only 2.5 minutes long on an album filled with whoppers. So while I can't endorse this in any way, this is actually an affront to everything because you're just playing Russian roulette here, and you're playing with my life and yours.
Almost. I mean, I did hear the song. I believe on Saturday I heard the song,
This is a dangerous precedent, and I can't disallow it. But this is a dangerous precedent.
Well, here's what else I had. I had "It's in Your Eyes," which is the other song I don't remember, and then the other one was "Susudio."
If
And
you'd
so,
picked Studio, I would have terminated this call.
so, so in order to not pick Susudio, I picked one of the songs I didn't know.
Well, let me end this topic mercifully from my point of view anyway. Studio is everything I detest about Phil Collins.
I
Um,
would say "Take a Look at Me Now" is everything I detest about him,
no,
actually.
what makes me hate Studio so much is it is the most blatant ripoff of 1999 I've ever heard. Like literally,
Mm.
if you ask a group of white men who are incapable of swinging to play 1999, you get Studio.
Well,
It's literally
I
that's
will
it.
say, I will say this: if that's what he was going for, he failed so bad that I never even had that thought cross my mind.
We'll just play the right hand keyboard part to both in your mind. They're
You
both
know,
bum
you,
bum bum bum. Is it's just bum
you know,
bum? It's the same.
I'll take that back. I guess I have thought of it as, yeah, I know the similarity you're talking about, and it has crossed my mind, I guess, but we're talking, I guess, so far back that I've forgotten.
It's that was when I could tolerate the take a look at me now. I could tolerate the ballad, the cash in ballads. Like
Mm-hmm.
actually, you know what? You made the really profound point about the. It not only ended him. Was that the beginning of the shitty '80s ballad? Had Journey turned into a ballad band before that or after that? Because you know
Yeah,
what I mean. Like
I don't know if I'm not gonna go out on a limb and say it was the turning point for anybody other than him. But it does kind of seem like it's his turning point where it's just like, well, you got to keep on producing this, you know?
you don't think though that also sort of represents a time in the I mean the '80s were the decade where you pretty much had to have at least one ballad on your record. It was usually like your
Yeah,
second or third single. Can't you kind of lay that at the feet of Phil Collins? Like who was more instrumental in mainstreaming that?
I don't know. I would say I don't want to hastily put it on him. I don't know where the start of it is. It certainly was a thing. Like especially look at all those hair metal ballads that are the product of that.
But I think those lesson learned. Those are lessons learned by A&R men. Is that you got to put a ballad on that record, or you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like you can't have a rock record anymore that doesn't have a ballad after Phil Collins. I don't think it was. I think he ruined it for everybody.
By the way, we could do a hair metal uh,
I
banality
mean,
draft.
oh, I'm gonna have to. You know what? This is. I don't. This may not be an arable topic because I'm actually gonna. I don't know that I detest it that much. I
Okay.
could definitely do
Well,
ballads only. I hate all the ballads,
okay.
but like
Okay.
I will. I
So
can't
yeah,
count on that.
let's do hair metal ballad banality draft then.
Wow. You know what? I'm gonna ask, and this is let's bring it home with this is I'm gonna ask you for mercy on the next one. This was really hard. Phil Collins was really hard. And the fact is we basically stayed with the first three albums I did, but we both agreed that the I Wish It Would Rain Down from the but seriously it had to be in consideration. Like this was really brutal because I had to go back and listen to all the Disney crap and all the Motown covers and like I didn't have to listen to all of them, but like his last 10 years of recorded productivity is really bad.
Yeah,
Really bad.
I wasn't even going to explore that. I felt like once I got to enough songs where I could make it through the draft, then I was done.
Yeah. At this point, I think I'd rather listen to Mike and the Mechanics than Phil Collins. Like the only decent thing Genesis can claim is Peter Gabriel's solo career. I know there are
Okay.
people who swear by early Genesis records, but they're wrong about that. Those records, you had to be there. You had to be there. Nobody who wasn't there loves those records.
Okay, so here's what we could do since you're asking for mercy on this.
I'm asking. I want to do the draft. I enjoy doing the draft, but I got to get something a little easier than Phil Collins next week.
Okay, so here's how we'll do this. I think going forward. Okay, so I have the first pick next week, and when I have the first pick, you can pick the the draft. So we'll just do it that way. We'll alternate who picks with who goes first.
The last three we've talked about seriously are Mellencamp, Journey, and the Doobie Brothers. Those are different levels of complexity. I don't think any of those is as bad as Phil Collins. Any of those three would be a step up, and I'd be okay with them. I think the Doobie Brothers is probably the easiest one to accomplish to get to 10. I think Journey would be the hardest, and I'd put Mellencamp in the middle. So I'm going to say I'll let you pick between Mellencamp and the Doobies.
All right. Yeah. Well, even though I think John Mellencamp's going to be the much harder of the two, I'm going to go with John Mellencamp.
Wow.
Regardless.
And you don't mean purely John Mellencamp. You mean John Cougar Mellencamp,
right.
and John Mellencamp.
Yeah, it's the same guy. Yeah. So, just like if we're doing Garth Brooks, Chris Gaines would be on the table.
There is a genre there, by the way, of best alternate ego. I mean, Prince had Camille, Garth had one. Doesn't Beyonce have one?
I don't know.
I think somebody current does. Those are always disasters. Those will come up on worst albums of all time. Certainly worst album. Chris Gaines has got to have the worst record cover of all time. Certainly it's close. All right, this was a very difficult episode, but a satisfying one. These are the mountains you have to climb. This source material, B-Sides is a very large survey, and then to find 10 tolerable Phil Collins songs, that is yeoman's work.
Well, I honestly, other than the song that I don't remember, I don't feel that bad about the other ones. And maybe I don't feel bad about that song either. I just don't remember it. So who knows?
But you'll admit that this list got much better when we agreed to start with I Don't Care Anymore.
Yeah. It had to be done.
Yeah, I think I agree. All right, this was very productive. Next week, then we're coming back with, it sounds like we're doing John Mellencamp on the Banality Draft. We'll have another topic for you then as well.
Mm-hmm.
Till then.
Later on.